Hello, beautiful people. Welcome and thank you for finding your way back to your favorite fish-themed football podcast. As always, I'm your host, Big Tuna. In this episode, I've got a very special treat for you that I'm excited to get into, so I won't waste a lot of time with this introduction. As you know, we cover the four teams on this podcast: the Rams, Raiders, Niners, and Chargers. Today's episode is version 2 of our War Room series, where each of those four teams gets its dedicated episode, go through kind of a state of the union of each team. And as a biased Rams fan, I wanted to get a fan's perspective of each of these teams. So for this episode, I invited my good friend Art, diehard Niners fan, Central Valley native, and he will be our first official co-host of the podcast. So I'm very, very excited. In the episode, we also have words from our two sponsors. Yes, you heard that. Two sponsors. Very happy to find some sponsors that are tuna lovers. So word from them later on. In the description below, there's timestamps. So if you want to jump around to certain topics that we go through in our conversation, I do think it's a great conversation, a little bit of a lengthy one, but it's just two friends that love rival teams, kind of talking about how the 2024 season is going to go and how they need to get there. So without further ado, let's jump into the 49ers War Room with Art. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to announce our first ever boots on the ground 49ers fan mouthpiece for the First and Tuna podcast, standing at a whopping shadow-inducing 6 foot tall, 230 pounds of pure testosterone. My good friend, Mr. ATP. Everybody welcome Art.
How's it going, everybody? How you doing today?
Man, after my introduction, just a very calm. How are you doing?
Yeah.
It shows everybody I was very much embellishing a little bit.
Yeah.
But everybody welcome Art. Art's a good friend of mine the last few years. He's as big as a 49ers nerd as I am a Rams nerd. He's nice enough to come on here and essentially be the 49ers fan mouthpiece for me, because as much as research as I do, as unbiased as I try to be, it's very difficult to not look at that Santa Clara team and have an inkling of happiness when things go wrong for them. So would like to have a conversation with somebody, have the 49er ears out there, have a welcoming voice. So thank you, Art. I appreciate you being on here, man.
No problem. Appreciate you having me on.
I want to ask, because we're all about spreading the love of the game here. Like, that's kind of what my niche is for this podcast. Is there something, do you have like a memory or a reason why you fell in love maybe with your team, maybe with the sport, like something that drew you to football? Because at one point you made maybe an unconscious decision to, like, hey, I love this game, I love this team. Like,
yeah.
You got a memory that kind of you can draw on that?
I wouldn't really say. I mean, I think fourth grade, the Super Bowl. And there's other kids that were kind of into football and stuff like that, and we always played football on the, in the field. But I think the Super Bowl, when we won it last, is when I was like, okay, yeah, this is fun. And then I just started watching kind of football from there, and I played football, so it was. I don't think I really started getting really into NFL until maybe into middle school, 6th, 7th grade. Other than just wearing my gear and knowing that's my team, but I couldn't say the exact key memory, but I just know that I've always been a 49er fan, just from the beginning,
That's cool. What was I gonna say? I remember as a kid, while the kids were like memorizing state capitals and presidents, I was remembering who was the starting quarterback for each team in specific years. I was like tracing, trying to draw each logo and like make my own logos.
Yeah.
So I always like hearing other people's childhoods with football. Because it draws us all together. So it's just about the love of the game. Like, we all innately love this thing. We wait all year for it, and then we're sad when it goes. So
yeah,
appreciate you sharing that, man. So let's just jump into it, man. First of all, I did send you that Rams jersey that you ordered. So I won't tell anybody else about that, but it'll be on its way this weekend. First thing I want to jump into, bro, is it soon enough, or has enough time passed that we can jump into and talk about the Super Bowl and how it ended? You guys were one drive away. It's tough. It's a tough pill to swallow. At least I'm going to assume so. a Super Bowl ending in that fashion. You guys have lost twice to Patrick Mahomes, so you can't really be too upset. It's like you're losing to the GOAT of this era right now. I mean, just kind of walk me through when you're watching this shit happen. All the media talks about Kyle Shanahan messing up leads, but from a fan's perspective, man, how did that whole game go for you guys?
I think, in general, we were doing what we needed to do. I do think we were the better team. I think our mistakes are what messed us up. The fumble in the beginning, the muff punt, stuff like that. It was basically we beat ourselves. We could have had that game one. And then at the end, we gave Mahomes the ball back, and we didn't capitalize. We needed a touchdown, and we took a field goal, and we shouldn't have done that. Also, I don't know that controversial call of who gets the ball. Who should we have gave it to him and seen what we did. But I mean, I think no matter what we did, and the way the game ended, it goes back and forth. Like if we would have got a touchdown and then they didn't score, we would have been in the right decision. Vice versa.
It's always hindsight's 2020. It's hard. It's hard to because you don't want to make a decision and appear like you're making as the head coach. You don't want to make a decision assuming, oh, this guy's gonna do better than us. I guess you would have confidence in your guys. That was his reason, right? I'm not a fan of it personally. If you're gonna take the ball, it's touchdown or nothing. Literally, it could be one play or one small error can be the difference in a game. You guys had a phenomenal year. I said it all last season on the podcast. You guys were the best team, hands down, especially on paper. You guys were the odds-on favorite to make the Super Bowl. You got there, and then it comes down to like a fumble here or just a missed call, a missed block here, and that's the difference in the game. That's my take on it, where it's got to be a little bit frustrating in that regard.
Oh, definitely. There's a lot of things. I mean, we could talk about the holding calls, this and that, but at the end of the day, we beat ourselves. Like I said, I think we're the better team. Just needed to get that extra touchdown during regular time.
Or you needed that extra ref on your side, huh? Are we going there?
Pulled a Dante Whitner where he said, we played Taylor Swift, the refs, and the Chiefs. I've never wanted to just be like, I never want to be like, let the refs decide the game. I do think it's ridiculous the amount of non-calls that were obvious, versus that one call that they called on. Damn it, I'm drawing a blank.
It's all right. We'll redact his name for safety purposes.
He's our star offensive lineman.
Oh, Trent Williams?
Trent Williams, yeah, the one call that they got on Trent Williams. Yeah.
Well, we'll redact that. We'll say we're protecting his namesake.
Yeah.
not to throw shade at him.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. My last anecdote about a Super Bowl. So I was watching it with like all Niners fans. At my buddy Joe's house. Shout out to Joe. He's a fan of the podcast. I was wearing my bright yellow Aaron Donald jersey, and I didn't want to like be a dick and just talk shit the whole time.
Yeah.
So I was trying to be clever about it. So I learned a bunch of Taylor Swift facts. And just throughout the game, I was dropping little nuggets like I was a big fan. Like just being annoying as hell. It gave me a little bit of happiness throughout the Super Bowl. So
yeah, I let my daughter know no Taylor Swift songs for the rest of our lives until they break up.
She's grounded.
Yeah.
That's cool. Kids get grounded because your team loses the Super Bowl. Yeah. Sticking with talking about Super Bowl window. A big conversation piece over the offseason narrative, and this is kind of what our focus is going to be today. Offseason narratives and the outlook for the next season, and I'll get your take on every single subject here. So every time there's, falling just short, this happens to the Cowboys a bunch. This happens to any team that's crowned, hey, they should win the Super Bowl. When it doesn't happen, and now contract extensions happen, contract drama happens. Can your quarterback do it? You get all this media, talking points. From Niners fans, do you guys feel, hey, there's a smaller window of opportunity now to get the Super Bowl, especially considering Brock Purdy's contract talks on the horizon? Do you guys take reality in any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think every year you don't win it, and you have that squad. You close the window because of I think now there's going to be more like basketball, where they're building super teams. And I think right now, like 49ers are a super team on paper. And I think, other people are going to be going like, hey, you know what? Let me join this team. You know, maybe not always for the money, but, I think a lot of guys are going to start gravitating towards, hey, let's build a super team. I want to go to Mahomes. I know he's capable of winning the Super Bowl. Let me get there. Let me get a ring. Let me solidify my career with a Super Bowl ring. So I think every year, that you don't win it, your window of opportunity does close. I think we got a good squad to build around, and to bring people in on the drafts to teach these guys our way. But I mean, you know, people get older, people get hurt, and people move on for more money. And right now with the amount of money that we have out there in these good guys, we may have to let somebody go eventually.
It's the injury factor. I think that's the only thing I take in reality with that. That in a vacuum, you look at that independent year, you get obviously loaded. You guys carried over. You signed, I'm gonna say almost the whole squad back minus Eric Armstead.
Yeah.
But to avoid major injury outside of finally in the Super Bowl, which I mean, I'll touch on. Dude, that was such a freak injury to Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. Like even as a Rams fan, I'm like, dude, that sucks. Like at least injure me in the preseason, Like don't let me get here and then just running off the sideline blow my Achilles.
I think it shifts like the momentum when something like that happens to one of your star players. I don't think I still don't think we went out there and were thinking about it. I think everybody was just like, let's do it for him. Let's keep the game rolling. Put in our next guy and let's rock and roll. So I don't think we really skipped a beat. But I mean, yeah, definitely not having him there. Does factor in.
Man, losing a starter at any point is never helpful to any team situation. But to that point, that's only the solace I take in that of your Super Bowl window. Like, oh, just because you didn't win it, you don't have a chance this next year. That's stupid. That's really dumb. It's the injury.
At the end, I still think we can make it back. This year.
Speaking of window. So having a quarterback helps. You guys have no questions at quarterback. You know where Brock Purdy stands. A big conversation with that contract of that Super Bowl window rides on, hey, you guys are paying a lot of superstars. You have a super team. And part of that help is you guys found the franchise quarterback at the very last pick of the draft in Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
My big question with him, man, what do you rank him in the NFC? Like not the whole NFL, but just the NFC side.
I think, Mahomes number one,
Yeah.
I really like Lamar Jackson. I think he's a great, phenomenal quarterback. So I rank him, right, maybe number three, in the league.
Ooh.
That's
damn in the league. So you think he's number one in the NFC, and you got him just behind Mahomes. Damn, that's a hot take, bro.
Based off stats alone, he's a great quarterback.
That's actually. It's hard to argue when they go based off numbers and stats and like success because we were talking about before we started recording was like he gets knocked because of his draft pick stock and his size.
Yeah, I can say he's number one, but that's just not the facts. He didn't win the Super Bowl. He didn't find Ayuk over the top. When he got the pass rush. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there are some things he needs to work on. And just being a rookie in the NFL, or not a rookie, but just being newer in the NFL, there's a lot you need to learn still.
For him being only his second year, first full year starting, I think he did a great job. I'm sure a lot of other teams they would stop talking shit if they had Brock Purdy take their team to the Super Bowl. I'm sure they'd be singing a different tune. I've seen it firsthand. Like he's torn my team up once or twice already. It's hard to get to him, even despite the 49ers O-line troubles, which we'll get into here in a minute. So I'm biased, man. I'm a homer. I'm putting Stafford at like 3 or 4 as well. I agree. I'll put Mahomes at 1, like 1A, and Lamar Jackson at 1B, just because you got MVP and Super Bowl champ right there. After him, it's hard for me to take out, even despite the injury, Aaron Rodgers. And then I'm putting Matthew Stafford right there. And then 5 is like a toss-up. Like Josh Allen's talented, but then Brock Purdy's just fucking phenomenal as well. So
Josh Allen's a great player too. I like watching him. He's got a lot of potential to take that team where they need to go.
So, like I said, like I hinted at earlier, Brock Purdy, he's got a very low contract impact for this final year of his rookie contract. As of right now, some numbers just to throw your way. Not that we're cap analysts or in any kind of financial field. So, what does this mean to us? Per over the cap, Niners currently sit at around $6.5 million left before the draft. I believe most teams earmark between $3 to $5 million for the draft alone. Free agency signings, you guys hit on pretty well. Leonard Floyd, he's a great rotational piece. Previously of the Rams as well, so don't wish him well. One guy that you told me before is your favorite signing. I want you to kind of let me know how you feel about it. Devondre Campbell, previously of the Packers. You like that pickup?
Yeah, I mean, as we spoke before, last couple of years, I think he had some injuries, and he didn't have the best stats or whatever. But the few years before that, he was one of the top, top guys in his position. So him coming on, is going to be a great addition. But I believe he's only signed to a 1-year deal. So depending on how he performs this year versus the last couple of years, I think it's a good choice to keep him at 1 year because if you don't perform, then we move on. But if he does perform, hey, maybe we can, maybe sign him for a couple more, and see where it runs.
I do like when teams do that, the kind of prove it deal, that 1 year.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's a great fit. For those of you not aware, so he plays outside linebacker or middle linebacker with Greenlaw.
Linebacker.
We'll just say linebacker. What do I know? Campbell is going to essentially fill in Dre Greenlaw's position for now. Like we said earlier, he tore his Achilles in the Super Bowl, so he's going to miss some weeks. I'm not sure what the timetable for his return is. Campbell was an All-Pro in 2021, and he has had some injuries, so he's missed some games the last 2 years. So I agree, man. If he can be healthy, I think you guys picked up a very underrated pickup. Like he can stop the run, he can get to the rusher, veteran too. So that I'm jealous. It's a great pickup. Another one that I think with this pickup, you guys win the Super Bowl. You guys picked up Joshua Dobbs, the Pastronaut.
Oh yeah. I think it was a good pickup. When I seen them say, we got Dobbs, I was like, oh, cool. If anything happens to Purdy, hopefully we're in good hands.
Dude, we talked about him on the podcast last season. Like he came into that game for the Vikings off of like being there for a day.
Yeah,
didn't know his players. So obviously you guys got one of the smartest backup quarterbacks. I didn't think Sam Darnold did bad last year in his one game, showing up against the Rams. But that's a great pickup as well. Some key losses. You guys lost Eric Armstead. He took a guaranteed contract with the Jaguars in the $20 million. He said he felt disrespected by the Niners because they only offered him such and such money. You're worth what you're worth. And you can't really be mad if he, gets a contract somewhere else. I don't know why he's kind of bad-mouthing the Niners. Are you worried about losing him? I know he's been there for a while.
I hate to see him go, but I'm not. I don't think he had the best season last year. So it's like, hey, what do we, it's. I don't think it's devastating to our squad that he's gone. Yeah, I like to see our players stick around, but if you're losing a step, sometimes you just got to go.
How many years has he been playing? Like roughly, it's been more than 5 or 6, right? Did he? You obviously watch more games than me. Did he lose a step? Do you think he's like aging a little bit?
No, I just think this year he just didn't have he didn't have the best the best season. So when it came time for we're gonna have to pay some guys, it's like, hey, who's willing to take a pay cut? And if you're not willing to take a pay cut for us to keep some of our star players, then it's like, okay, can we refill that position with somebody else? Yes, we can. So I think that's what it came down to. I don't think it was disrespect. Some of the other guys took pay cuts, and it just worked out. We retained a lot of people. And I think, a lot of our players believe in the squad that we have. That's why they took a pay cut, for that quest for 6.
It's always interesting when the team does ask or tries to restructure a player's contract. That could be misconstrued in so many different ways. Like that could get blown up. Like, they're trying to trade him, and that contract talk could be really scary. Other potential loss, it's currently ongoing right now. Brandon Ayuk, He's being a little dramatic. Not dramatic. He's utilizing social media and the court of public perception to earn a new contract. He wants an extension. Very similar to what Debo did last year. I won't even like feed info on it. What's your fans' perspective? You guys have obviously been watching whether he's going to get re-signed or traded before the draft.
Yeah. So as far as going out there on social media, I hate that. I just but I do understand it. I understand. Hey, like I'm worth something. Players didn't have that before, so now they got kind of an outlet. And they really can't say nothing when they're in their 4 years of their rookie contract or whatever. That fourth year comes around, and you're like, hey, pay me if you want to retain me. One thing we can do is not pay him anything and just make him play out his final year, and then figure out a franchise tag next year, or this year coming up, but John Lynch, his agent is actually John Lynch's best friend. So I don't think there's, So I don't think there's going to be any like ill will going on there, like as trying to screw over one or the other. I think there's going to be some goodwill negotiations, going on there. I just think, Ayuk is, doing his thing, to get his bag.
So we're in the same sentiment. Where I think it's interesting. I think part of me doesn't dislike it, but I'm almost jealous that players can do that. Take the social media and like make the team look bad. Not bad, but hey, they're not paying me. Because I wish I could do that, or that we all could for work. Like if you ask for a raise and your boss says no, like take to Twitter and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Like just it doesn't really work that way for us.
Yeah. I look like the boss over there.
Like hey Paris, I'm gonna need you pack your shit.
Yeah,
you're done.
I mean, it'd be a different game if they were just like you're benched. That's that Mike Singletary mentality.
Ooh. Look at you. Hey, back-to-back bangers from you. Look at we're doing real fucking journalism over here.
Yeah.
Look at art over here, man. You got the research. I didn't know about John Lynch's best friend.
Yeah.
Bringing up the old Mike Singletary days. Are you talking about he benched Vernon Davis, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I was actually just watching that clip the other day where he was just like, no, if you think this is all about you, sit your ass on the bench. I'd rather take 10 players out there on the field and take penalties versus having 11 guys out there, until we figure it out, So, I mean, I miss that mentality. I miss that mentality of, not playing professional sport, So where you have the leverage of, when you're, out there in the NFL, to say, hey, this and that. But, Mike Singletary, one of my favorite coaches of all time.
Dude, that was a wild time. There was something to be said, and that's probably a deep dive down the road for us here at the podcast. The shift in mindset and how to coach different generations of players, because things you can get away with 10 years ago as a coach, versus now. Like our next article, we're doing Harbaugh era, how Harbaugh teaches that old school way versus how Shanahan is now.
Yeah,
I feel like those are night and day differences, very much. But that's a different rabbit hole we can get down another day. So they asked Eric Armstead to take some sort of restructure, take some lesser money than what he got in Jacksonville, and then with that money, rather than paying him, they did pick up some free agents to kind of have some rotational guys there. So rather than having one key starter, it looks like they've got a bunch of guys in that D line, which is great for depth in case of injuries. The Brandon Ayuk situation, it kind of bleeds into the draft and what you guys need. So let's just jump into the draft, man. Big thank you to our first sponsor of the podcast, Rogue Energy. If you have not heard of Rogue Energy, you definitely should, because, they love tuna. So you should love them too. I need some type of supplement for these kind of early mornings or late nights whenever I get to record or whenever I get to edit for the podcast. And I wanted something that didn't taste super chalky or that was honestly terrible for you. I can't do major canned energy drinks. I feel like I'm going to have a heart attack. You don't get any of that with Rogue Energy. I'm not going to beat around the bush with you. I tried out some of the samples. I fell in love with it really quickly. Ordered my kiwi strawberry. I need my strawberry. I'm a big strawberry man. And no, I'm super happy. Honestly, I just think you guys are going to love them because I do. I just don't like terrible shit, to be honest. Check out Rogue Energy. Link is in the description below. Use the code BIGTUNA for a discount, and I hope you guys like it. Thank you, Rogue. 49ers, I believe, are in the most desirable situation, apart from maybe like the Chiefs and the Ravens. You guys have a stacked roster. You retained your entire offensive line. You've got all your key positions back. You've lost one or two guys here, like starter-wise. But on the whole, everyone's returned on what was already a stacked roster.
Yeah.
Added more rotational pieces that I think are plug-and-play starters. Like I said, don't have a question at quarterback, so you don't have to fool around with picking a guy up. You already got a backup. Right now, you guys are going for depth. You're looking for upgrades, impact positions, and that is super fucking desirable. I think every team would want to be in that spot. The biggest one that I'm seeing, I'll let you correct me, all media is talking about is Niners got to take a tackle. They got to take a tackle. Is there some merit to that? And then what would you like to see happen come draft night?
So, yeah, I think that's our biggest need right now is offensive line, on the right side. So, a right tackle and a right guard is, I think, what we need the most right now. So we need to beef up our O-line, protect Brock Purdy, and not have those screw-ups like the NFC Championship against the Eagles, or against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
So on that right side, we've got Joe Feliciano, and then I did catch his first name, McKivitz, right? The right tackle?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because it's assumed outside of Trent Williams, you guys need to tackle a guard, impact on the offensive line. But you guys were able to have such an effective run game. You got Christian McCaffrey. He's super talented, but it takes the O-line to get somebody the offensive player of the year at the running back. So how is it, is it night and day difference of pass pro versus run block? Like, again, you watch more games, man. You tell me.
I'm not saying, CMC did it all on his own, but he finds those holes. He finds, even if, he puts the needle through the thread a lot of the time, But yeah, I mean, that left side is pretty good. I just think that right side needs to be beefed up. Not that our O-line is horrible on that side, but there's the big plays that we're messing up on. The blown blocks. That's where I stand, saying, hey, if we had just somebody over there that can just play his position the way it's supposed to be played, 100% of the time, that's what I'm looking for.
And it's interesting. So I think a lot of folks look at upgrades at positions almost like Madden, like, oh, what's his rating? Oh, what's his It doesn't really work that way. Most guys we're going to assume are good in the NFL. It comes down to margin of error. Like, can this guy do his job 90% of the time, 95%? Yeah. You guys are looking at an upgrade from like maybe 90% to like that jump to 95. So having an impact rookie even come in. You guys are rumored to have favorite tackles you guys want. They're saying, hey, if they stay at pick number 31, there's a guy like Jordan Morgan, tackle out of Arizona. If you guys trade up, which is always interesting because it's a lot of assumptions. Like, can they trade up? Do they have the capital? Is the other team, like, are the Cowboys willing to let the Niners pick ahead of them? Like, shit like that. You got Amarius Mims out of Georgia. I'm not even going to try to say his first name, but Fuaga, a tackle out of Oregon State. Any of these guys, like, really hit the nail on the head for you guys as Niners fans, or is it just pretty much, hey, just take the best available?
I think we need to take the best available. I mean, if it makes sense, like if the stats are there and they did great in the combine, take them. But like I see guys like Fatanu, I believe his name is.
From Washington. I think that's the guy from Washington, right? I think the 49ers front office was up there recently checking him out. And so that everyone's kind of hot on that, like, oh, that's the guy. That's the guy.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. Like, I'm not great at grading offensive linemen. I don't know how to really break down their tape as well as other people can. I agree. Just take the best available. Like, trust your good as a front office. Yeah. Take the best guy available. Between those two, I'll put you on the spot. If you got an impact rookie coming in, do you want him replacing Feliciano or McKivitz?
McKivitz.
You said that pretty quickly.
Well,
you got some personal feeling there?
Yeah, I mean, watching the game, it's just like, hey, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Feliciano's made some mistakes, even in the Super Bowl. He said, he went left, and dude came in on his right side, but that was what he was supposed to play. He was supposed to block that guy. and he said he went off instinct and he missed the block. He blamed it on himself. I mean, that's something nobody's really talking about. They're focused on those big things, but Ayuk was open right over the top. That would have been a Super Bowl win for us if Brock Purdy had that extra millisecond to turn his head left. Boom, he sees Ayuk. But that's also going against our game plan. We should have been going for Ayuk the whole time. Because he's open.
It is tough because it literally comes down to, again, that margin of error is so small. You guys could have played, both sides could have played a perfect game all the way up to that point, and all it takes is one lineman to just step the wrong way, and then you miss a throw, and now you're kicking a field goal versus going up 7 in the Super Bowl. It's tough, man. Depending on the Ayuk situation, and so this is kind of interesting to me, if he doesn't get extended through the draft, right? So if we come to draft night, he hasn't been re-signed. He's sending out more Instagram stories and tweets about bullshit walks, money talks.
Yeah.
Do you see a reality where the Niners take a receiver in the first round?
Yeah, so if we could trade up, and then if we do trade up, I would hope that we pick up Odunze.
Ooh, you stepping on LA toes right now, bro.
Yeah, so if we trade it up, I hope we have the opportunity to pick up Odunze, and that would ease the pain of you losing Ayuk. I don't think Ayuk's 100% replaceable because he's crazy good, but if we did that, it would kind of ease our pain as far as us saying, hey, we're comfortable with our position.
One of the few teams that I think can get away with having a rookie at that true starter position. Because Debo, as talented as he is, he's not really like your best route runner for every concept. He's more of the utility player, like stash used everywhere. You think there's a reality where to trade up to get a receiver, they package Ayuk in that trade and send him off somewhere? Like come draft night, say they want to move up to spot 15 because they really want to take Rome Odunze, right?
Yeah.
And they package Ayuk, their pick, and like another pick to whoever's at 15. So they send him away just to draft his replacement. Do you think that's a reality? Is that something like John Lynch would actually do?
I think so. If he's just asking for too much, because we're gonna have to play. We're gonna have to pay Purdy. Eventually, we're gonna have to pay somebody else eventually. So I think it's a possibility. Do I think it's gonna happen? No. Like I said, with John Lynch, the agent thing, at the same time, they could just let him play out his last year for 14 mil, and then trade him, the following, or and then let him go the next season. Yeah.
It's tough, man, because it's like you never know what's happening behind the scenes. Like how unhappy is someone really? Are they giving the most effort? Not to assume no player would ever not put their best performance on the field, but then what's the relationship like behind the scenes? And I'm glad you brought up that point with John Lynch and Ayuk's agent. That stuff matters way more, or almost as much as numbers, depending on the player. The relationship dynamic. I'm sure that helps get things moving more times than not.
Yeah. And it could be his agent saying, "Hey, you need to do what Debo did. Send out a couple of those mean tweets, and we can get the ball moving and get you where you need to be." It's all a negotiation. He's gonna shoot up here. John Lynch is gonna come here, and they're gonna meet right there.
Usually, the truth is somewhere in the middle. Usually, I wonder if since he's John Lynch's friend, like he's telling these receivers to do it. Is he Debo Samuel's agent too? Do you know?
I don't know that one.
That'd be funny to find out if he was, and he was telling his players like, "Hey, my boy John Lynch hates when players do this shit. Send out a tweet right now, like just to get under."
I can see that, and I can see Debo telling Ayuk, "Hey, do this. You want that money? Do this then." I'm saying? They want you. The team loves you. And I think it's just all about dollars and cents when it comes down to it, and the length of your career, because it could end at any time. One hit, can take you out. So that generational wealth, I don't know Ayuk's, background, but the 49ers is his home team too. Or he was a 49er fan when he was a kid.
Was he really? Damn, that's cool. It's you make a very good point, and then we on this podcast, man, forever. I will never change my opinion on this. Anytime a player has an opportunity to go get that bag, get paid,
Yeah.
do it. Like
Yeah.
by all costs. The NFL makes too much money. Owners make too much money, and what are they making it on? On that name that's on the back of your jersey. Make sure you get yours. So I'm always for it. We just talk about it because this shit is funny. I wish I could tweet. Uh,
Yeah.
if I wanted a raise, like that'd be cool if we can do that in real life. So,
You know, it'd be funny if the coaches started tweeting about their guys.
oh,
Yeah.
that would cause such a shit show. Like we're just talking about high school drama at this point. Yeah, but to round up with Ayuk, man, is John Lynch known for making blockbuster moves like that, or is he kind of like a draft and develop kind of GM?
No, he knows how to move things around, you know, to where he's, you know, picking up, you know, good players, you know,
Yeah.
throughout the year. So they definitely used, but they used the minority thing in their clauses to pick up more money or whatever it was, you know. So they're strategic, you know, at you know creating these ideal situations.
I think you're referring to so there's a clause in NFL coaching, right? Where
Yeah.
if it's not about hiring the minority coaches, but in this specific clause, the Niners are doing this at like a historic rate where
Yeah.
if you develop a coach, an assistant coach, and he leaves your team to go get a head coaching spot and he's a minority, there's a clause in the NFL where that team that lost that coach gets compensatory picks. And they're not they're good picks.
Yeah.
Like I think you guys got a third round pick one year for losing Mike McDaniel, right?
Yeah.
The reason for that is it incentivizes, it gives good reason to not to just hire minority coaches because that Rooney Rule gets some speculation, some controversy there, but to also develop and see them progress in the league. Love it. Great system. And the Niners are doing it at a historic rate. So thank you to Proton VPN for also being Tuna lovers and sponsors of the show. If you don't know what a VPN is, you are behind on the times. Honestly, everything we do is internet based these days. If you don't have proper security from your phone, from your laptop, whatever it is, you need to get with the times. I've loved the Proton Suite for many years now. I've used them personally. Anybody who's ever gotten an email from me and they always wonder, how do you have your own domain? Well, I do everything through Proton. So check out their suite. Check out the VPN, Proton VPN, great sponsor for the show. Use the link in the description below. Let them know Tuna sent you.
Yeah.
You guys got a great culture going there. And you're right. A lot of these things, everything we've been talking about stacks and adds up to the Niners having a good culture between Shanahan and Lynch and a stacked roster. I've got my own opinions on how your guys' 2024 season will go. So let's talk about it. I want to hear from a Niners fan. I want to hear straight from the horse's mouth. What's the outlook? Like, what do you think they ultimately do in the draft? What do you think they ultimately do with Ayuk? And then your 2024 season predictions.
I think the draft we definitely pick up offensive lineman, cornerback, you know, maybe a few other backups and stuff like that, you know, to develop. Ayuk, I think we retain him. I think we have another run at the Super Bowl. I think we make it to the Super Bowl. I think we win the Super Bowl this year. That's my prediction.
I don't want to hear that. I want to see shit go wrong, bro.
I want everything to go wrong for everybody else. You know,
It's so hard for me to argue that. If you guys stay healthy, there's no reason to expect a performance, like a repeat. Like, it's hard to argue.
I think I've seen a couple mock picks where they say the 49ers are back to the Super Bowl again. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think repeat last year, you guys would probably be Super Bowl favorites to get there.
Yeah.
Talk about playoffs, right? Obviously, you're expecting you guys to run the tables in playoffs. Are there any teams out there that worry you that you don't really want to see? You're not excited about the matchup in the playoffs for the 49ers?
I mean, the Lions, I think, looked better than us in that game. You know, I think they should have won that game. Them sticking to their game plan that got them there cost them the game. You know,
That pissed
but
me
you
off
know,
so much.
you know, I think, you know, if he would have just punted a ball, you know, they would have taken us out and they would have been on their way. You know, they would have been on their way to their Super Bowl. And you know, it's just
crazy.
you know, fortunately for us, we stuck with our game plan and we just kept on charging and nipping away at their lead, and then we took over. But they didn't change their game plan when they were up. They didn't play conservative at all. But they never did. So it was like, why change it?
That's a good point. Like, as much flack as Shanahan's been getting for the Super Bowl, they're looking at his track record for blown leads in big games. I mean, you gotta give him credit because he's done the opposite too. Like, you guys were down in that game, and it was that first quarter was ugly, and you guys clawed back and beat like a fan favorite in the Lions. Like, they were like a Cinderella story at this point.
Yeah, I think I even took a little break during that game and went outside for a little while, and then I was like, hey, wait a second, what's going on now? So.
You were that Ben Affleck meme of him like outside taking a drag of a cigarette, just exhausted.
Yeah, exactly. I was there at that Green Bay game. I mean, that was a nail biter all the way straight through. I thought, any given Sunday, but I thought Green Bay may have, they had a chance to beat us also.
That game had me worried for you guys because Green Bay was coming off of that ass whooping that they gave the Cowboys. Yeah. So they rolled right in and didn't lose a step. Like, that was a great game. What was were you a little bit nervous watching that game?
Oh yeah, I was on my feet streaming the whole entire time. That last, I believe that last drive, I was sitting down, with my head between my legs, like just like what the hell is gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? Please don't score, please don't score. And then, they tossed it up. I think we got the interception, and then, that was the game. And I still sat there. Everybody was screaming around me, and I still sat there for a second.
You were full airplane crash mode?
Yeah. I mean, my voice was gone. I'm one of those fans, especially when I'm at the game. I'm trying to get everybody up. I'm there. I could be in the fourth, in the nosebleeds, and I'm still telling everybody, get up. They can't hear us, So, I'm the guy trying to start the wave out there. I'm talking shit as I'm driving into where I'm trying to get parking.
I'm aware. I get it from you.
A lot of the Green Bay fans when I was there, they were in their matching coverall, rain gear and stuff, and I was, making fun of them the whole way, telling them, and make sure you guys hold hands and stuff like that, So. And people that come with me, because I go to the games. It's either me and my son, or people say, hey, you want to go? I know you go to the games. Let's go. Let's tailgate and stuff. And they're kind of like, damn, you're gonna talk shit the whole way until we get to the stadium. I'm like, yeah, that's just it's all fun and games to us. I'm not out there, talking major shit to somebody, but I'm talking football.
It's part of it. Yeah, as expensive as tickets are, bro, you gotta get your money's worth.
Yeah, and by the end of every game, I'm kind of, my voice is kind of lost, and I'm a little drunk.
Been to 2 Niner games, both of the LA games, coming up here to Santa Clara. Went to both. Both were sold out. The one before being a primetime game, I think it was Monday night, when I saw you and Vanessa at. And then this last year, took my mom. It was the Week 18 preseason game, they were dubbing it. I saw the showdown between Sam Darnold and Carson Wentz. Both times, packed stadiums. The only my only story from that game 2 seasons ago, with the Niners just whooped on the Rams. I was about second quarter. Second quarter. Debo took a short pass and weaved through our defense for a long touchdown that game.
Yeah,
I was actually in line ordering a round of drinks for me and my buddy, and I'm getting ready to pay as everyone starts cheering, and I look up at the TV, and there's Debo running right by everybody. Yeah, and is the only positive part of this. The bartender looked at me in my Rams gear, handed me my drinks, and he said, "You're good, bro. I think you need these."
Right? Yeah. And that's kind of unheard of there, dude.
I was like, bro, I was like happy because I had to pay. I tipped them obviously, but it was just, I was like, these are pity beers, man. I don't even want these.
Yeah, you filled them up with tears.
They didn't even taste good after that.
We go to my dad's a Rams fan, so we go to the this, but we go to every year we go to the Rams Niners game.
So. Where did he go so wrong raising you, bro?
He just never pushed. He never pushed sports on us. He was always working, so it was never hey, be be a Rams fan, be a Rams fan. And then my grandpa was a 49er fan. You know, he still has the old golden jacket, you know, from back in the day, the old starter one, and that's like what I would always see at his house. And then it was just, you know, I'm a 49er, my brother's a Raider, my sister's a Rams, my mom's a Bronco.
That's kind of cool though. Get a little variety. I'm surrounded by nothing but Niners fans in my family. And then our final thought of the day. We do this segment because I have random thoughts. I have ADHD brain. I jot these down on my phone. Not always football related. Last time I drew a lot of hate about my thoughts on In-N-Out Burger. We'll refrain from talking about it here. So my thought of the day for you, pose it as a question. Do hamsters naturally exist, and where the fuck do you find them at?
That's a good question. But I would think that they exist somewhere, if they exist in the wild, on a deserted island with no predators around. So I think they're just running around multiplying. I mean, it's probably just an island full of hamsters, built on hamsters. But yeah, I you know, that's a good question. I don't know where they even come from or originate from.
Because man, I've never seen them outside of a Petco, and we're just letting them exist. And I've never thought of the deserted island part though. Yeah. I'm imagining like you and your boy like lost at sea, like that Tom Hanks movie Lost, and you're rowing up to an island and just fucking hamsters. Yeah. Are these hamsters like? Are they super smart, or are they just basic, like just running around? They have
just running around, living life. I think we roll up, they're not even scared. You know, they're just like, hey, what's going on? You know, they probably got you know, like a little king somewhere. You know, and they just they gather and congregate, and they're not even scared. They don't have no predators or nothing around.
Are you eating them, or are you becoming one with the hamsters and you're bowing down to the hamster king?
I'm gonna become the hamster king. I'll sit on the throne of hamsters. And yeah, we're definitely eating them. There's going to be sacrifice.
It's just something that's bugged me for so long because, like, I've seen obviously rats in the wild, ferrets in the wild, but I don't know where hamsters are, bro. It bugs me. That and baby pigeons. Have you ever seen a baby pigeon?
Have I seen a baby pigeon?
Yeah.
No, other than like I got one of my neighbors. He has he has pigeons, But I've never seen a baby pigeon before.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, bro, but something weird happening.
I've seen plenty of other baby birds, but not a baby pigeon.
You've never seen a baby pigeon. Yeah. Just saying, never seen a wild hamster. That's all I'm saying, man. Created in a factory somewhere. But well, thank you for your word on that final thought of the day. That's all I got, man. Appreciate your time. And you got any final words to is it Bang Bang Nation, whatever you call yourselves? You got any final words for the fan base?
I'm not a fan of the Bang Bang Niner Gang type deal. Just sounds funny to me. But I'm a Niner Empire kind of guy. Yeah.
So the Empire.
We are the Empire, not a nation. We're the Empire.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you coming on. We will have you on again, especially after the draft, to see what the Niners did. And not best of luck to you guys this upcoming season.
Likewise.
Thanks, bro.